Welcome. I'm Cheryl Mitchell, the president of Tree Levin, which is a retreat and learning center on a sheep farm here in Addison County. And one of our goals is really to promote social justice in the county, which is why we're thrilled to be partnering with Building Bright Futures and Let's Grow Kids to do these shows that bring you information about what's happening in early childhood and family support worlds. So I am thrilled today to have two wonderful guests who we just realized had been on the show 2 years ago, I think. Jeffrey Heath, who is the nurse and the WIC supervisor in the Vermont Department of Health here in Middlebury. And, oh, I've blanked on your name. Can you believe it? Gillian MacKinnon, who is the nutritionist here in the county. And they're going to talk to us about some of the things that are new in the WIC program, some of the things that have been going on forever but are still happening, and their interest in having more people come. So for people that are not familiar with the WIC program, could one of you just basically describe what it is?
Yeah, sure. Well, WIC is a federal nutrition program. It's out of the USDA, Food and Nutrition Services, and every state has it. It is a supplemental nutrition program, so for eligible families, for pregnant women, postpartum women, breastfeeding women, and then infants and children through age 5. And we provide nutrition education, which is one of the main benefits of the WIC program. So we have dietitians, nutritionists, IBCLCs, breastfeeding consultants that can help families with their nutritional needs for the woman who is having a baby or for their children through age 5.
Cool.
Do you want to add anything? Or?
Yeah, so along with the nutrition education and the supplemental foods that we offer, breastfeeding support, like you mentioned with the IBCLCs and CLCs, we really do support a lot of women with that as well.
Could you, the word IBCLCs,
Yes.
can you break that down for us?
Yes,
What
so
does that
people know of it as a lactation consultant, but it's an international board certified lactation consultant.
mean? Oh, wow.
And they have special training and teaching and supporting moms with breastfeeding.
Nice. And are they the same as the peer breastfeeding support people?
No, that's
No.
a great question.
Okay.
So breastfeeding peer counselors are employed through the health department, and they are peer-to-peer support. So those are, in our office, mothers who are currently or were on WIC themselves, have gone through a training and know a lot about breastfeeding because they breastfed their own babies and have worked with a lot of other moms who have encountered various different situations. So it's those moms can help women who choose to have a breastfeeding peer counselor.
Wow.
So it's a little bit different in the training.
Mm-hmm. So some different kinds of expertise. But
Exactly.
I have to say, when my daughter was pregnant, one of the peer counselors grabbed her and was very excited about her pregnancy and encouraged her to sign up for WIC
Oh, good.
and to breastfeed. So I thought, wow, these women are out there
They are.
really recruiting. And I know that you had mentioned there may be more people eligible for WIC than are actually getting that service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so to be eligible for WIC, it's income based, but if the participant has Medicaid or Dr. Dinosaur, then it's an automatic eligibility for WIC. And we know that there are folks who are, pregnant or postpartum women and infants and children through age 5 that are on Medicaid but are not on WIC, and we would really like to encourage those families to take advantage of the benefits of being on the WIC program, both the nutrition education, the breastfeeding support, and the supplemental foods.
So before the show started, you were mentioning that a lot of people prefer to get text messages. Is it likely that somebody who's on Medicaid but not on WIC will suddenly get a text message saying, hey, do you want to sign up for WIC?
Well, the text messaging is, we do a variety of different ways of texting to families, And one of the newest things is being able to text to enroll, so they can text to 85511 and say that and then the text will prompt these screening questions like, are you pregnant? Do you have Medicaid? Do you have children under 5? That kind of thing. And then they'll get referred to our office, and then we would reach out to them at that point.
Right.
So that's one of the newer text things that we're doing.
Have you started doing it? Are you?
It's just something new that's coming down, the text to enroll, but we've been texting for appointment reminders. We have a two-way text situation now, which we didn't before, where we can respond to their text if they have questions about nutrition, or if they need Tuesday rather than Monday for their appointment or whatever. So we can have a sort of a conversation.
It sounds great. It sounds so much more flexible and responsive than I remember when I was on it, which was a while back. And I know one of the other changes since the days that I was on WIC, we went from home delivery of all the foods to, how does it work now?
So now folks come in for their appointments, and same day we issue them with a card that they then can go right to the grocery store and purchase their WIC benefit right with the rest of their groceries. So it's really nice. There's a large variety of foods that families can choose from. And it's really nice to be able to get 2 gallons of milk for the next week or so versus having your whole order for the month delivered at your house and having to figure out where you're going to put it in your fridge. And
right. Have you noticed, Gillian, any changes in children's health since parents had more flexibility?
Directly related to the WIC benefit, it would be really hard to say. I think families like the flexibility of being able to get things as needed versus sort of being forced into figuring out what to do with foods or having foods go to waste. But that being said, I think children's health we're going in the right direction. We're still seeing folks come to their appointments and want to learn about good nutrition and good health. So I think that's a positive.
That's great. Are you still, I know for a while you were giving families coupons to use at farmers markets.
Yes.
Is that still part of the program?
Yes, and that was something we wanted to talk about. Those are going to become available, our farm to family coupons. July 10th is our first distribution day at the Middlebury Farmers Market here in town. So we have 5 additional days that Addison County WIC participants can retrieve their coupons that they can use for local fresh produce at the markets.
So they can go to the market and get them. They don't have to go first to the health department.
Right. They'll come right to the farmers market, and we'll have a little booth set up. So.
Wow. And that's coordinated with, doesn't 3 Squares also offer some kind of benefit?
They do. They do the crop cash benefit, which is for every $10 you spend, they tack on another $10. So it's
really nice benefit.
Yeah, it sounds great. And it sounds great that it's happening right there.
Yeah, exactly.
So I know you had one other new thing that you wanted to talk about, which is that people can do their midpoint re-enrollment now over a pilot project over the phone.
Yeah, so there's basically 2 appointments a year that's required to be on the WIC program, and then in between those appointments there is opportunities for nutrition education, and that can be going to an event or doing an online nutrition lesson or speaking to a breastfeeding expert or nutritionist. So for the mid certification appointment, we're piloting being able to do that over the phone, kind of a telewic appointment where we check in with them, we see how things are going with their nutrition and their family and their children and through their pregnancy, it's much more convenient for the families where they can do it over the phone. They can do it. It doesn't have to necessarily be at this day, this time. And we're very flexible on when we can speak to them and talk to them about it. We still are under federal guidelines where we would need to collect measurements for the children and sometimes some blood work, but we've been able to use measurements from the physician's office. So we're just really, we want people to enjoy the benefit of the program, and we want to for it to be normalized in the community, and we want people to just take advantage of it.
It really does sound like you're systematically removing things that used to be, if you don't have a car to get to your appointment at a certain time with your kid, it seems like a phone re-up would be great.
Yeah.
So I'm curious a little bit, because many people who are in this world are just curious about you guys. About how did you come to be doing this? Why did you come to Middlebury? I'd love to start with you, Gillian, and forgive me for just blanking. This is
That's
one of
okay.
the problems early on. My mom was a nutritionist, so I'm always curious about why people decided to go into nutrition, and then how did you end up here?
Yeah, so I grew up in southern Vermont and migrated north to UVM, and knew in high school that I was really interested in nutrition and health and being physically active, and I studied nutrition in college, and I, through my studies, did an internship with the health department through the WIC office in Bennington County, and my love for working with infants and women and children, it was the perfect fit. So I knew that this would be sort of the life I would lead as a WIC nutritionist, and I've loved it. So.
And you've mentioned you're interested in wellness. Are you involved in Blueprint wellness work, or sort of other more community-wide focuses on wellness?
Well, I have met with community health dietitians, and we're working on maybe bringing something that's more community-wide between all of us. I don't directly work with the Blueprint, but again, working with the health department, we're always partnering with community agencies, and so yeah, there might be more to come in the next year with a project with other dietitians. So
great. Well, I'm very glad that you're here.
Yeah.
And Jeff, you've been here for
many years. Yeah,
many years.
I've been at the health department for 18 years, and it was kind of funny the way I landed there. I mean, I love kids, and I think that all of throughout my career, I've gravitated toward working with families and kids, and I started out in elementary education, and then worked for a mental health agency.
Was that here in Addison County?
No, it wasn't. It was in Washington County, and I worked in the with both adults and children in their developmental disabilities program. And then I worked at Camp Thorpe in Goshen, Vermont, and we, that camp has been in my family since 1927, and so it was a great opportunity for me growing up in that environment and working with the kids, with all a variety of different conditions and disabilities, and so that was a really good.
When you say in your family, did your family start it, or
my great-grandfather started it?
Wow,
yeah,
amazing.
And then it's kind of
and it stayed in the family.
Yeah.
Do you still help there in the summers?
I don't. I have been a board member, and I'm kind of at that level now. Then boots on the ground.
Right.
And then I did foster care, and I did an adoption, and I did that for many years, kind of a stay-at-home dad, and that was a really wonderful experience. And then went to nursing school after that.
What caused you to decide to go to nursing school?
I had done foster care for with an adult for 14 years, and I brought him through to the end of his life. And at that point in time, I really just wanted to change, and I had worked as an LNA, in college, and had always had nursing sort of in the back of my mind, and then when I graduated, the job at the health department was available, and I was like, wow, okay, this is great, working with kids and working with families, and yeah, it's what I love.
So you've been doing that through many changes of governor, many changes of health commissioner.
Yes.
What can you comment on how things change and don't change over those years?
I think as far as the WIC program goes, it pretty much has stayed steady. Not much has changed with it. It's been about serving families and women and children, and I think it's important to the state to do that, and I think it was reflected in the governors and in the commissioners all the since my time started here.
That it's never been controversial. You've always been well supported.
I believe so. Yeah. I haven't experienced anything controversial with the WIC. I think everyone is really for it and wants to be able to serve families.
I mean, my perception has been that WIC has been sort of the poster child for the importance of us all being involved in health promotion programs. And I can remember people saying, well, I shouldn't be on it because other people need it more, and being told instead, well, actually, the more people who use this program, if you're eligible for it, the more likely it is that it will stay in place for everybody over the years. So I'm so glad that it's going strong. Do you have ideas for how to reach more people that are eligible, or how we at the station could help you reach more people that are eligible?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we know that there are multiple areas, but there are 5 specific towns that we're really trying to focus a lot of our efforts, and they include Bristol, Vergennes, Starksboro, Orwell, and
Middlebury.
Yeah.
Wow.
So all of those areas are areas that if you have a friend or a family member who's pregnant or birth to 5, definitely talking to them. We've been working quite closely with provider offices, so the local OBs and the pediatric offices, to really collaborate and have them send us referrals and really talk about WIC in appointments, because a lot of people, there is a common misperception that people don't want to take from others, or they feel that there really isn't a need, but there's great supports outside of the foods. There's a lot of education and information about resources in the community that people may not know about. So,
and you're also doing clinics in some of those areas besides Middlebury, right?
Yes, we still do a clinic in Vergennes and Bristol once per month.
So I think that maybe is the one that our family members go to. So.
Yeah.
I just want to say that we identified those 5 towns by how many WIC eligible folks were there that were on Medicaid, and how many were not on WIC. And those 5 towns had a higher percentage of folks on Medicaid that weren't taking advantage of the WIC program. So that's how we, targeted those towns. Yeah.
So doing specific outreach to those towns would be great. At one point, WIC was very involved with trying to address the obesity crisis. Does that feel like it's still going on, or has the education been sufficient that people know how to feed their kids now? What's your sense about the change? And
I think we are still experiencing it. I think, and Gillian, you can pipe in on this because you see more families. I think people have much more of an awareness about it and know what maybe some of the culprits are: lack of activity, sugary drinks in particular. you want to add to that? Or?
Yeah, and while we know that there's an overall obesity epidemic, we do know that the research has shown that those are participating in the WIC program have healthier outcomes. So there's something to be said for those.
That's another reason to encourage people to get involved.
Yeah, long-term health
to get
benefits.
your education as well.
Yeah.
That's great. Cool. So we're going to run out of time, unfortunately. It was, as we always do. I'm wondering if there are things that I should have asked or things that you would like to tell either the public or tell me.
I think that we have a few of new materials. Now, this is the WIC Foods, basically a listing of the different food categories and all the different choices. And it's in a size that, it can fit in a purse or in a back pocket, and it's not so conspicuous in the store if somebody wanted to use that. So we're really trying to make the shopping experience as positive as possible.
I've noticed that some grocery stores label if this is a WIC eligible food, this is so that you don't have to even look at your phone or something to find out.
Yeah, and there's a WIC app that participants' families can download and be able to see if an item is WIC eligible.
Cool.
So we try to think of many ways to avoid any kind of stigma in regards to being on the program. We train the cashiers, and it was a learning curve. And I think as we're several years into the not home delivery, but using the EBT card, and I think that the cashiers are much more aware of it and much more sensitive to somebody standing in line that may need help.
Yeah. Thanks. And did you have other things, Gillian, that you'd like to make sure people are aware of?
Yeah, I mean, I think just come to Farm to Family and take advantage of the fresh local produce this summer.
Yeah. And will that be just at the Middlebury Market or also at Bristol and Virgins?
Virgins, yes.
Virgins,
We'll be in Virgins for 2 of the 5 days and 3 in Middlebury.
Great. Wow. And hopes, dreams, I mean, do you want WIC to, there's been talk about school lunches being available to every child in the county. Is that also on your horizon for the WIC program?
That would be a hope or a dream.
Yeah, that would be a hope or a dream for sure.
Right. Could you just tell us for a minute about this lady, because I hadn't met her before?
Yes, this is one of our breastfeeding standees that in August you might notice she's an ex-WIC participant. We have a variety of different women who volunteered their time and their pictures, and we'll be posting different standees all around town in Addison County in August.
Great. Well, we'll look for them. And thank you both again very much for Jeff Heath and Gillian MacKinnon from the Vermont Department of Health here in Middlebury. Their contact information will be up in just a moment. So if you want more information, feel free to call them or go to the website. And thank you for watching. And I also just want to give a shout out to Middlebury Community Television for letting us have this time to get information out to you. If you have information that you would like to get out to the public, call them. They're great to work with. They're really, really friendly, and they can teach you how to do things you didn't think you knew how to do.